Another violent threat against students sends local authorities into action. An update on the Ohio State Fair tragedy that killed a passenger.
And in sports, both ranked Ohio college basketball teams lost to unranked teams last night. Find out where they stand. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
While the FBI reveals what they didn't do to prevent a Florida high school shooting that killed 17, more school shooting threats are popping up online around here. Good evening, I'm Steven Hernandez. Thanks for joining us. A West Virginia high school student faces charges for making a terrorist threat online. 18-year-old Corey Michael Duff posted a Snapchat video yesterday threatening George Washington High School in Charleston. He was charged earlier today. Authorities said Duff was previously suspended from school for an unrelated matter. This is the second reported threat against the school in the last 2 days. Duff is scheduled to be arraigned today. An Ohio high school student appeared in court today after authorities arrested him for a post on social media referencing Wednesday's mass shooting in Florida. The 14-year-old Ross high school student was charged with one count of inducing panic. It's unclear what was written on social media, but police say the remarks got another student to act.
Fortunately for us, another young lady saw the message and let her parents know.
If they don't start taking them seriously, this kind of stuff's going to keep happening. So absolutely, I think he should be charged, and I'm glad that he was.
Police say the student has not had trouble with the law before. Coming up later in the show, details on the FBI's failure to act on tips they received about the Florida school shooter. Authorities gave their opening arguments yesterday during a rape trial in Athens County Common Pleas Court. 23-year-old Note Jackson of Chicago faces one count of first-degree felony rape. Athens County Assistant Prosecutor Elizabeth Pepper claims Jackson received a text from a friend that the alleged victim was alone in a bedroom and could be approached by Jackson. However, defense counsel Byron I. Potts stated the victim was sexually aggressive towards his client and both were drunk at a bar before the incident. Jackson is currently incarcerated at Southeast Ohio Regional Jail. Officials released the name of a woman found dead in Meigs County on Wednesday. Meigs County Sheriff Keith Wood says deputies responded to a call about an unresponsive person inside a home on Broadbury Road in Middleport. Deputies entered the home and found the body of 53-year-old Jacqueline Putri. Sheriff Wood says her body was been sent for an autopsy to confirm the cause of death, and the Ohio Bureau of Investigation is investigating the case. Ohio's drug overdose deaths rose 39% over a one-year period starting in mid-2016, according to a recent report by the CDC. That is the third largest increase among all states in the country, behind Pennsylvania with a 43.4% increase and Florida with a 39.4% hike. The rise of drug deaths in Ohio is nearly 3 times the 14.4% increase in deaths nationally. The CDC's report says that over 5,200 drug overdose deaths in Ohio averages to more than 14 deaths a day. Political newcomer Mike Gibbons has some new support in his bid for the U.S. Senate. The Cleveland businessman landed the endorsement from Republican Rand Paul from Kentucky. Yesterday, Paul called Gibbons a fiscal and constitutional conservative who can stand up for smaller government and less government overreach. Gibbons faces U.S. Representative Jim Renacci and business owner Melissa Atkinson for the Republican nomination.
Well, good evening from the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm forecaster Ethan Emery, and today was a very soggy Friday. And in fact, there's actually precipitation amounts went up to nearly an inch of rainfall. But right now it is dry. You see current temperatures right now at 36 degrees with cloudy skies, with those winds with a cool northwest at 8 miles per hour. Across the region, we're reducing those temperatures into the mid-30s, so 36 degrees here in Athens, 39 over in Columbus, and 37 over in Marietta. And the almanac today does show the high was actually this morning, and the temperatures have just dropped all day long. And look at that precip, 0.94 inches, which actually caused an aid with a lot of runoff with the hills and rainfall to have the Hocking River go as high as it was right now, and it's going to crest tonight up to 18 feet. So, Stephen, it's going to be an issue tonight with flooding concerns for overnight tonight.
Yeah, that's a really big update on the weather and the increasing precipitation. Is there any areas that we should avoid, any roads, any parts of this area that we should not go towards?
Yeah, absolutely. You should not drive anywhere near a creek, any kind of rural road that's alongside a creek. Try to avoid those if you can. And also, too, with the lows tonight, it's going to get down enough to where you see some black ice. So there will be some road closures that are possible there. And if any kind of road closures updates will be on WOUB's Facebook page.
Thanks for the update, Ethan. Ohio officials approved permits for what will be the 2 largest solar arrays in the state. The 2 projects, Hardin Solar Center and Hillcrest Solar Farm, would combine for a capacity of 275 megawatts. Invenergy analyst estimates the 2 projects will generate enough electricity to power almost 60,000 homes. The current largest project in the state has a capacity of almost 29 megawatts. The developers have not disclosed the cost of the privately financed projects. Those injured in a deadly accident on the Ohio State Fair have reached a settlement with the state. The fireball ride broke apart, killing 1 and injuring 7 others. According to the motion, the settlement's terms include no money coming out of the state treasury and the plaintiffs fully releasing the state and the Expositions Commission. An Ohio State Fair spokesperson said the lawsuit must be filed and the settlement approved by the State Court of Claims for the deal to move forward. Coming up, we'll tell you what the FBI knew about the Florida school shooter and why the Bureau didn't act. Plus, what survivors of the Florida shooting are doing to both recover and spark action. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
We are here for the same reason, although I suspect we hope for different results.
You know what they say, yeah, the wicked get no rest.
I do not admire you for this.
Looking at my heart in a place.
It's always sex, isn't it?
Got so much to lose.
Love.
So much to prove.
For judgment.
We are not amused.
God. Trouble on my left, trouble on my right. I've been facing trouble on my side.
This is how you'll be a man.
Are you becoming squeamish?
Oh, God, your mother's here.
The lesbians. They're getting married. You're having a great time.
God, don't let me lose my mind.
Come and play with us.
Onward and onward!
Good ideas open up a whole new world of possibilities.
The more you know about history, the more you know about yourself.
The sky's the limit.
Where I go, there you are.
The FBI admitted it failed to act on tips about the Florida school shooter that killed 17 people Wednesday. Omar Jimenez takes a look at the news' shocking details about what the FBI knew about the shooter.
The FBI admitting that it failed to follow up on a tip about the Florida school shooter, saying a person close to the confessed shooter contacted the Bureau on January 5th to report concerns about him, including his gun ownership and desire to kill people. The FBI now saying it never followed up and did not provide the information to the Miami field office.
This is the nightmare where, you look back and identify that there was perhaps information in your holdings that could have saved lives. I mean, it is the nightmare scenario.
In a statement, the FBI director saying, "We have spoken with victims and families and deeply regret the additional pain this causes all those affected by this horrific tragedy. This new development coming as the families of some of the 17 victims killed in Wednesday's school massacre preparing to do the unimaginable, bury their children."
I just saw my daughter, cold as can be. She's gone.
14-year-old Alyssa Alhadef, the first victim laid to rest. We're also learning more about the others who lost their lives, including a football coach, an athletic director, and young students with bright futures ahead of them.
Jamie was such a special kid. All of the kids here are.
And as the community struggles to heal fresh wounds, there are small signs that life is returning to some sense of normalcy. While Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School is closed this week, some students and staff returned to campus Friday to pick up their vehicles left behind in the chaos. In Parkland, Florida, I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
Many survivors of the Florida school shooting and their parents are turning grief and anger into action, calling on President Trump and Congress to do something. All this as investigators reveal how the confessed killer carried out his massacre. CNN's Rosa Flores reports.
I want you to know that you're not alone in your grief. We're all grieving with you. The entire country is grieving with you.
A sea of candlelight, flooding an outdoor park as thousands gather to remember the 17 lives lost in Wednesday's massacre.
I sent her to school yesterday. She was supposed to be safe. My job is to protect my children. Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence. It happened in Parkland.
Parents holding their children close as students and friends reunited. But in the wake of the tragedy, many are turning their grief into calls to action.
This shouldn't be a fight between two different parties. This should be a coming together where we all realize that something is wrong.
This happens over and over again, and people are dying, and it seems like it doesn't matter, because what are thoughts and prayers going to do when people are already dead?
As this community looks to move forward, authorities are digging deeper into the killer's past. New documents obtained by CNN show that police visited the killer's family home 39 times since 2010 for calls including domestic disturbance and mentally ill person.
Police are there almost every other week. That's kind of how we knew he moved, because police stopped showing up there.
Really?
Yeah, he was always getting in trouble. He's evil kid.
Investigators are piecing together a disturbing portrait of the killer's fascination with guns. A former neighbor took this video shot a few months ago, showing the killer in his backyard brandishing a gun. Authorities also discovering these disturbing images on a second Instagram account, showing the killer wearing a mask and a Make America Great Again hat. In one picture, an arsenal of firearms are displayed on his bed, another taken through the scope of a gun. The killer also espoused extremist views and violent desires online, writing on a video from Antifa, the controversial protest group, quote, "F Antifa, I'm going to kill them in the future." But it was this post that prompted a Mississippi YouTube user to alert the FBI, quote, "I'm going to be a professional school shooter."
I found that post disturbing enough that I thought somebody needed to know about it.
The FBI says they followed up on the lead but did not have enough information to confirm the user's identity. In his first court appearance Thursday, the killer was charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. Police say he has since confessed to carrying out the attack and is now on suicide watch. His public defender telling the press that the killer has suffered from mental illness for years.
He's sad, he's mournful, he's remorseful. He is fully aware of what is going on, and he's just a broken human being.
The 17 students and staff killed Wednesday, students at a neighboring high school are focusing on the issue of gun violence. About 30 students gathered this morning at South Broward High School to protest the National Rifle Association and President Donald Trump. The students held signs with messages about gun control and deadly school shootings. Police patrolled the area to make sure the students were safe. Special Counsel Robert Mueller handed down charges against 13 Russian nationals for meddling in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The indictment alleges that Russians posed as American citizens, operated social media accounts aimed at U.S. audiences, and set up rallies around the U.S., including in battleground states like Florida. They allegedly manipulated information about a number of candidates, but by mid-2016, they supported Trump and disparaged Hillary Clinton. The announcement was made by Deputy Attorney General Rob Rosenstein.
The defendants allegedly conducted what they called information warfare against the United States, with the stated goal of spreading distrust towards the candidates and the political system in general.
Said the allegations.
The charges are the first handed down for meddling in the 2016 election. A Russian foreign ministry spokeswoman has called the indictments, quote, absurd. Flu activity remains high, but it could be nearing its end. Coming up, new details from the CDC that do not show a significant amount of flu victims.
Cool and dry tonight. Find out next on Newswatch when we see the next chances of rain. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
I don't mind saying it.
Now you look like an astronaut.
My dream is to walk on the moon.
2, 1.
Look at this place.
It's a crazy design.
It's nearly impossible.
What is the next step toward furthering our presence in the cosmos?
That was something.
Oh, this is incredible.
Very, very scary.
Reality is always more unbelievable than anything we could have imagined.
We're literally on the cutting edge.
Unreal.
How's it going, everybody? I am Nick Niehaus, the host of Hardwood Heroes. Be sure to keep up with us all season long. We have action to cover, and all 18 teams of ours are ready to ball out. We will have action for you on Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat, so make sure to always be on the lookout. Our shows are only once a week, but the action is almost every day. So make sure to keep up with our YouTube channel to see nightly recaps with our 2 online hosts. We will be your guide through the crazy world of Tri-Valley Conference basketball, so be sure to stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Hari Srinivasan from the PBS NewsHour.
And I'm Mark Brewer from WOUB.
Join me on PBS NewsHour and PBS NewsHour Weekend for the latest news and analysis of the issues that matter most to you.
Weeknights at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 5 right here on WOUB Public Media.
Well, good evening. It's been a very warm start today, but it cooled down rather quickly. Today's high reached 63 after around midnight. But then right now we're seeing the low currently, 36 degrees here in Athens, way above the normal. And in fact, the 7-day forecast does show it's going to be quite warm coming up. But first of all, we're going to see a little bit of cool temperatures overnight tonight. Saturday will start off dry, but we do see chances of rain returning. And then next week, we do see some warmer temperatures. But overnight tonight, cool. 35 degrees by 8 o'clock with cloudy skies, midnight 29. And then by 4 o'clock, 24 degrees with partly cloudy skies as those clouds taper off after midnight. And we're going to see those lows dip down because of that into the mid to lower 20s. So 24 degrees over in Columbus, 22 in Newark, 22 down in Chillicothe, and here in Athens, 23 degrees for a low with those decreasing clouds. And yeah, any kind of puddles out there with the flooding potentials could be icy. So there's a potential for some black ice. So be careful when you're driving out there this evening. But the setup for this is all because of some low-level moisture all across the south and east, bringing in those warmer temperatures as well as the cool air, as well as the precipitation. The cool air is because of the high pressure right here kind of making its way through, but it's not going to be really long-lived. It's going to make its way off to the Atlantic, bringing in more rain and precipitation off to the south. And I say precipitation because tomorrow evening we'll see a chance of scattered rain and snow at 4 o'clock. So tomorrow's highs only get into the mid-30s because of this. You see across the region, 41 in Columbus, 36 in Newark, and here in Athens, 38 degrees with those cloudy skies coming up and then in the evening, we're going to see rain and snow showers coming in. No accumulations are expected, but 7-day forecast, though, is quite interesting because as tomorrow evening we're going to see that rain and snow transition, Sunday will be warming up again in the 40s. Next week, though, we see a lot of rain coming in. Look at Tuesday's high, 76 degrees with some rain and thunderstorms. And then you see more rain continuing on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with those temperatures well above average, Stephen. So unfortunately, the rain's just going to continue.
Thank you. Flu activity remains high, but it could be getting close to a peak. That's according to the Center for Disease Control's weekly report, which does not show a significant increase in flu activity. However, it's still dangerous, and Karen Kaifa has details on how officials recommend to stay healthy.
22 more children have died from flu-related causes, bringing the total to 84 since October. The latest numbers from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show elevated flu activity across the country, with the virus widespread in all states except Oregon and Hawaii. The CDC notes that flu activity didn't increase that much over the previous week and may even be closer to a peak. But there's still a while to go, and the flu is landing more Americans in the hospital.
Hospitalization rates are significantly higher than what we've seen for this time of year since our current tracking system began almost a decade ago.
This year's flu season has been particularly challenging because this year's vaccine has only been 36% effective. On Thursday, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar noted that still makes a vaccinated individual 36% less likely to get the flu.
There's still time for each of us to contribute to fighting the flu this year. Getting a flu shot, as recommended for every American over 6 months of age, makes you less likely to get the flu and less likely to spread it to those who are most vulnerable, our children and senior citizens.
The vaccine has also shown more effectiveness in children than the CDC expected. 3/4 of the children who've died of flu complications this year did not receive a vaccination. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
In addition to vaccinations, the CDC also recommends recognizing early symptoms such as troubled or fast breathing, bluish skin color, or unusual irritability to help fight the flu.
Hello, I'm Connor Mills. It was a disappointing night to be a college basketball fan in Ohio yesterday as both ranked teams lost to familiar foes. Also, the Winter Olympics are still underway. I've got an update on the medal count as well as how the men's ice hockey team did last night. All this and more next on Newswatch.
Going on, Hardwood Heroes fans, I am your host, Nick Niehaus. We are the authority on all things Tri-Valley Conference, and we have all the content you need. Be sure to stay tuned across all of our platforms so you never miss any of the action.
I can't feel my face anymore.
You're doing good. You're just a little slow.
Welcome to madness.
I'm expecting the unexpected. The chicken feet really put me in a foul mood.
Join us for Family Ingredients Season 2.
Show me your mayonnaise, and I'll tell you who you are.
I can't wait to have a taste.
Now that's crispy.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, president of PBS. I'd like to tell you about a terrific new membership benefit called PBS Passport. With a qualifying donation, Passport brings more than 1,000 hours of great PBS and local programming to your computer, phone, or digital media player. You can catch up on shows you may have missed or revisit some of your favorites. The best part is that you can watch whenever you want. When you make your qualifying donation, you'll help to make all of the programs you love on this station possible, so don't delay. I know that you're going to love PBS Passport, so please make that donation right now, and thank you for your support.
Welcome back. I'm Connor Mills. In the NCAA last night, both Cincinnati and Ohio State lost to unranked but familiar opponents. Ohio State, ranked 8th in the nation, fell once again to the Nittany Lions of Penn State. The Buckeyes lost 82-79 on January 25th, and this time was no better. Penn State defeated the Buckeyes by 23 points en route to a 79-56 victory. The first quarter was the downfall for Ohio State as they were outscored 45-21. Tony Carr, a sophomore guard, was on fire for the Nittany Lions as he shot 9 for 15 from the field and 4 for 8 from downtown, scoring a game-high 30 points. Moving on over to the other upset, unranked Houston took down 5th-ranked Cincinnati and snaps their 16-game winning streak. After losing to them earlier in the season, Cougars dropped 43 points in the second half, led by Corey Davis Jr. and Devin Davis, both with 16 points apiece. 67-62 was the final as both Ohio State and Cincinnati are back in action against ranked opponents on Sunday. The final NBA games before All-Star Weekend wrapped up last night. The Nuggets defeated the Bucks 134-123, while the Timberwolves had a come-from-behind victory over the LA Lakers. LA was leading for most of the game until the fourth quarter, where they were outscored by Minnesota 35-20 and mounted a comeback victory 119-111. Taj Gibson led all scorers with 28 points, while former Cleveland Cavalier Isaiah Thomas is still getting used to his new team and struggled shooting from the field, going 3 for 15 and missed all attempts from beyond the arc. Looking ahead to tonight and the weekend, the Rising Star game is happening tonight at 9, with the NBA All-Star game tipping off at Sunday at 8 p.m. Headlining for Team LeBron are Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and LaMarcus Aldridge. Giannis Antetokounmpo, DeMar DeRozan, Joel Embiid, and James Harden will all start alongside Captain Stephen Curry. Now on to some NHL action. The Columbus Blue Jackets and the Philadelphia Flyers will be facing off tonight at 7 p.m. Over the past 5 games for the Blue Jackets, they've gone 2-3 with the loss against Toronto last Wednesday. Artemi Panarin leads Columbus with 46 points and 31 assists. They will go against a Flyers team that has been on a 4-game winning streak and 1 tie over the last 5. Looking ahead to Sunday, the Blue Jackets will face the 33-22-4 Pittsburgh Penguins. Tonight's game will be played in the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. On to the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. The United States is 5th with 5 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze. Leading the pack with 19 total medals is Norway, with Germany close behind. Germany is in 2nd with 15 medals, but leads all other countries in gold with 9. Also hitting the ice last night, the United States men's ice hockey team was looking for a bounce-back win against Slovakia after dropping a heartbreaking loss in their tournament opener to Slovenia. Ryan Donato powered the United States to victory with 2 goals, as that would be all that was needed to beat Slovakia 2-1. Slovakia had just pulled off a huge upset victory against Russia this past Wednesday. With the win, the United States earned 3 points, which propels the team to the top of Group B. I'm Connor Mills, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Stephen.
Thanks, Connor. And in the dog world, a bummed-out Minnesota dog is about to get a whole lot happier. Twice a month, Sting visits a library in Minnesota so kids can read to him. It's part of a library program called Pause to Read. But a week ago, no one showed up to read to Sting, so his owner posted some lonely-looking pics of him on Facebook. Now, over 100,000 shares later, the library's phone has been ringing off the hook with people wanting to read to Sting. Officials say the pooch is now booked through April. And now for final weather.
And tonight we're going to see cool temperatures, but over the weekend, chances of rain and snow, and then rain coming in to next week, with warm temperatures coming back up on Tuesday. So from all of us here at WB, have a good night.